Hey guys, what's up? It's Haas, Glamis Rescue. So today I'm going to be working on 2016 RZR 1000 Walker Evans coilovers. They're just coming in for routine maintenance. They're not blown or anything like that. He's just trying to get his car ready for Glamis season. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to knock off some of the big nasty stuff. And then we're pulling coilovers off. So I got my trusty spanner wrench tool to loosen up the nut. And on these, let out the nitrogen right away, because what would be called the main cap is actually the gland. So the only thing holding everything in there, all the oil, is the main cap, which is in there. So pull the nitrogen out, because the moment you loosen that thing up, there's pressure behind it. Alright guys, see you in a bit. Alright, so basically, I just gave it a quick cleaning. I just don't want to work dirty. Try to keep my hands as much as I can clean. So definitely let the nitrogen out first on these, right? Because what would be the main cap is the actual gland. You can see the grooves that it's got cut into it. It's 1 3/4 inch, which even I don't have. So all I use is just a very big crescent wrench. Because the gland... or the main cap is the gland on this one. So the moment you start unthreading this main cap, if it still has nitrogen pressure or back pressure, it's just going to make a giant mess. So let me loosen it up, and then I'll show you guys as I unscrew it. Alright. Okay, so I just used a crescent wrench, broke it loose, unthreaded it, and watch, you'll see what I mean. Right? So the actual main cap is, it is the gland. So again, can't stress that enough. Make sure you bleed it out. Otherwise, you're just gonna make a giant mess in your shop, garage, wherever you're working from. Okay, so now I'm gonna work on tearing apart the reservoir. I already put it on the softest setting down here with the knob, and it's just a retaining clip. And then my schrader tool to get it out. Pretty simple. Okay, so reservoir is open, right? The whole body, everything's still full of oil. So I'm gonna drain the oil. It's trash now. But basically, you know, it's just a little C-clip, some C-clip pliers, and comes right out. That's just the main cap for the reservoir. So pretty simple. Let me empty it out. I'm gonna clean the body, clean the inside, all that, and then I'll start working on the shaft assembly, change out seals, and we're already probably 1/3 of the way done. So, alright guys. Okay, so on these shocks, this is usually, well, it's a question I get asked a lot, right? And this is a dividing piston inside the reservoir, and I do get these questions a lot. How do I get this out? Because it's not 1/4 internal thread. The piston, and it's going to be hard, I'm going to do my best, but I apologize, bad camera work, but I can't get it. But ultimately, the thread there is 1/2 inch 20 or 1/2 inch 5 thread standard, but it's external thread. So all I made to get them out was, it's just a 1/2 20 bolt, and then 2 nuts, and then I just apply pressure to the bottom nut, and then inside I only have maybe like 4 or 5 threads, and that's what I use to just go inside, thread it on, and then pop it out. So I basically, that's how I get this guy out. So again, 1/2 inch 20 standard thread is on these, on the dividing piston inside the reservoir. So hey, there's a trick. Sometimes you got to make these little special tools. Okay, so disassembling the shaft assembly, piston assembly. It's 11/16 for the lock nut on top. All right, so just take that guy off. Put it on your pig pad. That's right, remember, always use pig pads. Try to be as clean as possible. Remember, rebound is on top as far as shims, and compression is on the bottom. So I'm going to take the complete thing off. I'm not revalving this. Again, it's just a simple service. Take the spacer off. Voila. It does have a groove on the bottom, so remember that. And then finally, the main cap, which on these shocks, the main cap is the gland. So that's what holds all of the seals. So I'm just going to pick the two seals that are in there out, insert the new seals, and clean everything up, and then slam it back in. Put new oil. Customer requested King oil, so I'm going to use King oil. And then it's just reverse, right? Pretty simple. So, all right, time to get cleaning. Okay, so new seals have been installed in the gland main cap series. Old seals. For these, and this is just my opinion, right? Sometimes it's really difficult getting parts for Walker Evans shocks. It's just difficult to sometimes get a hold of somebody at Walker Evans or get them to ship anything. So I'm not saying that's just my personal thing that I've had. By all means, you know, they're still the manufacturer. Give them a call. Try to get the seals from them. I like using a place called O-Rings and Things out of Fontana. They're not a paid sponsor or nothing like that, but it's just a giant hydraulic shop. And again, O-Rings and Things out of the city of Fontana in California. They're right next to the Speedway. They're great. The girls in there always have what I needed. So again, not a paid sponsor, but if you get in a jam and you can't get parts for seals and stuff like that for Walker Evans, give them a call. Just Google them. O-Rings and Things out of the city of Fontana in California. Alright, so now it's just backwards assembly. Put everything on the shaft, torque down my nut, and then I'll start filling up the body with fluid. Alright. Okay, so time to fill up the shock body. Okay, so this is how I do it. I got taught to do it this way through a friend. I trust it. I'm not too familiar with the exact names of stuff in here, but this I'm just going to give you what I call it, right? So inside the actual body, there's what I call a bypass rod, and that's the one that basically makes this adjuster kick in. So what I do is I basically add a little bit of oil on the shock, right, to where it basically covers up in the reservoir side, the orifice, the little hole that you can see, and then on the body side, it's going to be about maybe halfway up on that rod. So I add oil to that, and then I add the dividing piston, right? I put it in here, and then I very lightly tap it down. So I just start tapping on it, tap, 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 to get it to sit. Well, as I'm pushing that on that fluid, it's going to start coming up this body. So I'm going to just put like a rag on it, so that when I tap this down, the oil doesn't like make a giant mess. But I basically set the dividing piston as far down as I possibly can, which gets all the air bubble out of this portion of it, and it starts pushing it into the, what I call the bypass rod. And then from that point, then I'll start filling the body to the level so I can insert the shaft. So that's the way that I was taught to do these. I'm happy doing it that way. I apologize if I called things wrong. But definitely, if you want to get a hold of Walker Evans, give them a call, ask them for some advice. But that's the way that I've been doing it, and I'm happy doing it that way. So I'm just sharing with you guys my tricks that I'm happy and I'm comfortable using. All right? Okay, so I put the main seal in the reservoir back on, put my clip in back on. See how it's all frothy right now. Basically, I grabbed the entire assembly, had gloves on, put my hand on it, took it off, and if this was the shock, I basically inverted it a bunch of times, right, to try to work any air bubbles that might be inside the shock out, and it'll froth up. And then what I do now is I just kind of like hang out. I'll I'll clean up some other things. I'll start cleaning up the other shock, and then slowly you'll start seeing the air bubbles kind of dissipate, right? And that was just me working the air out. So now the next part is inserting the shaft, threading the main cap back on, and then just adding nitrogen to it. So again, for me, pretty easy. Okay, so shaft is in. I filled up the body to what I visually felt was enough oil. I still use my little trusty, my little squirt bottle, right? If I need to add more oil. So on this guy, what I look for is, as I'm threading it in, and I'm threading it, right? The O-ring is what actually seals it. So the oil does actually have space to come out through the threads. So as I'm threading it in, that's what I look for. I look for oil to be kind of coming out, air bubble. If I'm happy with that and I see oil coming out, then I'm comfortable that I hit the right amount of oil in there, so that the shock doesn't damage itself. So that's the way that I kind of do it. And again, these are just my ways of me doing it. I'm just trying to share some information of what I feel comfortable with. All right. Okay, so a trick I do on these is I basically, with a press punch, right, once I have it all closed down and everything, I'm trying to get to it, I put 2 spots that I press just to keep everything lined up, and then I just mark it with a little bit of paint marker just for like a visual reference, just to see if that main cap ever starts loosening up. But that's basically it. I went ahead and I added 150 pounds of nitrogen. I brought the shock down, I cycled it, so I compressed it all the way down. It's functioning perfectly good. I'm going to go ahead and clean up the springs, slap them on, and that's basically it, guys. So once again, please, 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 I'm trying to grow this page, so subscribe to my channel. If you like these videos, press the like button, comment, let me know what kind of shocks you guys want to see, and if I'm doing them, I'll gladly make a video of it. So now, again, just springs, and that's it. And again, I can't stress that enough. Please help me out, guys. Subscribe to my channel. I need to get 100 subscribers, so YouTube actually opens up, I guess, my account, and I can start putting and posting more. So please subscribe to my channel, hit like, and share it, right? Share the hell out of these videos. I'm trying to help everybody out and give out some information that is definitely useful to me. I make a living this way. And my motto in life, right? If anybody else can do it, I can do it. You can do it. So it's not difficult. Okay, so they are done. Oh, one thing on most UTV shocks, to evenly spread the load between the 2 springs, this would be the lower, and this would be the upper. I just have the shock upside down. Most sliders, I don't know if you can see, but they have like a little arrow on 2 sides. One, and they have another little arrow here. Basically, what you want to do is you always want to put the end of the spring, so where the spring, see how the spring ends? Put it one on one side, and then the bottom one, put it there. What that does is that distributes the load on the slider, so the slider is running as smoothly as it possibly can. Okay, so that was the last thing, last trick. But ultimately, that's it. That's how you do Walker Evans shocks. And again, if memory serves me right, customer said they were off a 2016 RZR 1000. But more importantly, these are Walker Evans shocks, UTV shocks. So thanks again, and please, once again, subscribe, like, and share this video. Thanks, guys. Later.